Well, hello there, family. You're listening to Fired Up Freedom with Steve Ryan. Fired Up Freedom. All right. Do you ever look for certain services or products and it's just hard to find and you want to know if someone else has used that before? Well, visit my resources page, steveryan.com/resources, steveryan.com/resources. Welcome everybody to the rooms. You will have the opportunity to come up and speak. I do have some notes. I just want to go over a few things, kind of like we did yesterday, where I, go over some stuff and then, the conversation will be open for anyone who wants to participate. So just to get started, this week has been an amazing week so far. So on Monday, we started off with coming up with strategies to get clarity. That's to clear the noise. Because sometimes it can be hard to process all this information that we get all the time and knowing what do we apply? Where do we start? What actions do we take? So getting clarity and clearing the noise, that's what we talked about Monday. Then on Tuesday, we talked about having a mindset for financial freedom. That was a great conversation. Yesterday, we talked about how to create income opportunities. And for those of you who was not here, we went over the 3 I's. To create those income opportunities. So that's a great conversation to listen to as well. Today is, how do you make a routine that works for you? Now, why is this topic important? The reason why is because sometimes we can lose stamina. If we're working on certain goals, it doesn't matter if it's financial goals, personal goals, it could be exercise goals, whatever goals that you have for yourself. Making a routine that actually works for you, that's customized to fit who you are, is a big deal. Because a lot of times people lose patience, they give up, they get burnt out, and there is a way to prevent those things. Not saying that it would never ever happen, but it's definitely a way to minimize it. Let me put it that way. So what I want to share with you is some notes that I wrote down. I put a lot of thought into this last night. I looked at what works for me. Now, for those of you who don't know, I do a lot of things, acting, singing, songwriting, motivational speaking, investing, business, NFT stuff, crypto stuff. I do a lot of things, but I rarely ever get burnt out. Like, it's very, very rare. In fact, the only times that I really experience a burnout is if I allow other people's energy to myself to be drained from other people's energy. But from my own routine and my own living, I don't really experience burnout. It's very rare for me personally. And so I went and I evaluated. I said, what has worked for me? What kind of value can I bring and give to others to help them on their path of setting up a routine that works for them? So these are the notes that I took down. And I like to divide these things up into 3 things, because when we start getting more deeper than that, it can get overwhelming and confusing. So this is what I came up with. Number 1, evaluate yourself. And number 2, evaluate your situation. And number 3, evaluate your results. Now, it won't take me too long. I am going to go over each one of these things, but let me just repeat it one more time. Evaluate yourself is number 1. Number 2, evaluate your situation. And number 3, evaluate your results. Now, when we look at evaluating yourself, this is going to require you to be honest with yourself. This is going to require you to really have a heart-to-heart talk and say, you know what? Let me really take a look at what's going on with myself. And why am I bringing this up? Because that's a huge deal. Sometimes we're distracted from evaluating ourselves. I'm guilty of that too at times. So I look at what I've done to evaluate myself, and here's what I came up with. Like, number 1, you have to ask yourself, what kind of person are you? Are you a morning person? Are you a night person? Is there a certain part of the day that you have more energy than another part of the day? These questions are important. All these dots will connect as I move further along. Is there any part of the day that you're at your highest or at your lowest? Like for me, I don't need coffee because I get up in the mornings and I'm just full of energy most of the day. You know, the times that my energy gets like more low is toward the evening when I've gone through a long day. So me identifying that within myself, it helps me to know where to place certain things in my routines and how to approach my routines. When are you most alert? Sometimes you can have energy, but you may be mentally not as alert. Now, there may be extenuating circumstances where something happens, maybe an argument happens, or maybe something caught you off guard, or maybe you're excited about something and it zaps your energy. So there's always exceptions to these things. Now, the way that I go about my routine, I don't like to really plan a lot. Now doing this around this time is perfect because I'm on the apps anyway, either in someone's room or listening or doing coffee or something. So this fits my routine, like coming here and doing this at this time. But as far as anything else in my day, the way that I personally approach things, if it's something super urgent or coming, I do something that's totally anti-logical, but this works for me. It may not work for you. I don't like to get to super urgent things immediately. I like to give myself time to kind of embrace life, like get up. I like to flow with my day. I tend to like my first 6 hours of my day, give or take time, unscheduled. Now, I know everybody can't do that. That just works for me because I like to be fluid in case I want to work on this thing or that thing, or in case I just want to exist and create. That works for me. So I tend to schedule things for myself like after 11 o'clock. Now, unless some kind of acting gig comes up that requires me to be there in the morning, this is most of my days. And the reason I'm sharing this is that's how people relate. They relate to stories and shares. All right. So the second thing is evaluate your situation. That's item number 2. Are there any fixed scheduled items that can't be changed? Like some people have a job. Your job may require you to work certain hours, or some people have kids. You have to take your kid to school at a certain time, or you may have to take your partner to work at a certain time. What are the scheduled times that you can't negotiate, that you have to do these times? It's important to know that in your routine, because what I'm doing is carving out a path and helping you to carve out a path in your own mind of where can you fit certain things. I promise you this is going to connect shortly. Is your schedule dependent upon other people? These are some questions that you have to ask yourself. Here's an exercise that each and every one of you can do if you want to get a better routine. Look back at your most recent 30 days. Are there any points of time that you've noticed that you consistently have gaps? Times that you just have space, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Look back at that and take a look at that. Maybe it's on a certain day. Maybe on Sundays, you notice yourself having 2 hours every Sunday, or 1 hour every day midday, or 1 hour every day early evening. It's important to take a note of that. Now, if you can't remember your past 30 days, then over this next week or two, if you find yourself just having a moment that you're just not really doing anything, you see space in your day, it's not a time that you're relaxing intentionally, but more of like your day is just kind of breathing. Make a note of those times. The reason why this is important, all of this is very important to creating a routine that works for you. All right. Another thing, what are some things that you have to do every day? Are there any routines that you have to do? Like some people have to go to a doctor a certain time every month, or some people have to, do A, B, and C. So in other words, the purpose of this is to identify what is it that you have to do every day, or like for me, I have what's called non-negotiable routine, where 5 days a week, I commit to at least 30 minutes of exercise and I don't negotiate that. Regardless of what else is going on, I make that work. Now, the way that I personally approach my routine with exercising, I say, okay, before 12 o'clock every day, I need to get my exercise out of the way. If I get it out of the way early, great. If I don't, and let's say it hits 11 o'clock, I don't care what I'm doing in that hour. I stop myself. I take a break and I go and exercise because I prioritize my health. You see what I'm saying? So for you, you have to customize what works for you. Now, let's say I was someone who had a 9 to 5 and then I had kids I had to take to school. So let's say, 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock is gone. And then when the kids come home, I have to do dinner at 5 o'clock. I'm just giving an example. All right. Maybe I exercise at 6:30. So from 6:30 to 7, I exercise. In other words, finding pockets in your day that works for you. Now, I know this may get a little tricky because what if you're a morning person and you don't have energy in the evening, but everything you're doing is in the morning? Then maybe you might have to wake up 30 minutes early to get your exercise out of the way. Maybe an additional 15 minutes so you can shower. And maybe let's just round it up and say you might have to wake up an hour early and maybe go to bed an hour earlier. In other words, finding a rhythm that works for you. Now, here's another thing. Leaving space is crucial. It's going to be rare that the time you're estimating is going to be on the dot. So it's very, very important to leave space for yourself. So if you think that, maybe I'll have 30 minutes there, carve out an hour. See if you can carve out more time than what you think you're going to need. Because sometimes we're going to have days that we're slower about getting to things, and if you're someone like me, I get caught up in these creative zones. So if I'm making music or writing something, I might get stuck on that for a few hours and I'm in my zone and I don't want to lose what I'm thinking. So that may push everything else out. That's why I don't like to schedule things in the first 6 hours or so of my day. Another thing, evaluate your results. This is item number 3. So for anyone who's come into the space, the room, or the live stream, what we've talked about so far is 3 things to help you make a customized routine, which is evaluate yourself, evaluate your situation, and then evaluate your results. Now we're about to talk about evaluating your results. I told you this would be quick. I'm almost done, actually, and then I'll open up the floor for anyone who wants to come up. Evaluating your results is this. Number 1, look at, once you come up with your routine, or here's how I put a routine together. I don't try to overplan a routine, and I'm just sharing what works for me. You can take from this whatever you think might work for you. You can take the rest of the information and customize it for what works for you. But what I do is I like to piece things in my routine little by little. I don't like to jam pack. I'm going to just make this my routine. Like, for example, doing this Monday through Friday, what we're doing this week, I thought about doing this a month ago, but I wasn't ready to do it. I knew I was going to Puerto Rico. I knew I was traveling. I knew it was other things I had to do. So in my mind, I said, okay, once I'm back settled, I'm going to give myself a week when I'm back to get myself back adjusted, make some changes. And then now I'm able to just do this effortlessly. Every day this week, it's been no problem coming here at this time, live streaming, being on Twitter Space, being on Clubhouse, being on TikTok, being on multiple platforms right now. It's easy for me right now. You see what I mean? Because I prepared for that. So when you're trying to introduce something to your routine, it's very important to be realistic with yourself about what's going on. Is there something extraordinary that's going on with yourself that maybe you have to give yourself some space before you introduce something? But I like to introduce a little bit at a time because that helps me to sustain my routine. Okay. So in other words, what I've looked at the past. I've tried different things. This is what worked for me because I evaluated my results. I evaluated, well, how did I feel when I tried to do this for a week? When I tried to exercise and do this and this and this, oh, wait a minute. I felt like I was on the verge of burning out. So that doesn't work for me. So let me scale that back. Let me add this thing on. So think about it like a recipe, like you're making a food recipe and you're just adding this on and adding that on. So what's going to happen is you're going to have to decide what's most important to you. This is why all the other things that we talked about every day this week, strategies for clarity, creating income opportunities, mindset for freedom, all of this ties in together because what you're going to have to do is decide what's important to you. I try to do things in groups of 2s and 3s and say, okay, this week, what's the 3 most important things for me to work on this week or that I want to accomplish this week? Now, if I get them done and I can get to something else, great. If I don't get to something else, it's still okay. And the reason why you want to develop a routine that works for you is so that you can accomplish your goals. You guys got this. I know you can do it. Fired Up Freedom will be right back after these messages. Do you ever look for certain services or products and it's just hard to find and you want to know if someone else has used that before? Well, visit my resources page, steveryan.com/resources, steveryan.com/resources. All right, I'm going to open up the floor to see if anyone wants to come up and have any questions or do any shares or give any insights of what kind of routines work for you. And if no one wants to come up, I'll just shut the rooms down. It's fine with me. I'll just go finish my day. So let's see here. There we go. I see Chaos wants to come up on Twitter Spaces. If anybody wants to come up on Clubhouse, just raise your hand and you'll come up. You'll be able to hear each other, but we just have to talk on one app at a time. I see Dave is wanting to come up. I see Project 10. Wow, 5 people. Okay. 1 second. Let me get you all up. One moment here. All right. So the order that we'll go in, 1 second. Let me get everyone up so they can hear me. All right. We got another person that raised their hand. 1 second here. There we go. All right. Invite. Okay, there we go. A lot of people are coming up. Here we go. 1 second here. All right. So the order that came up is this. So if you guys can remember this. So it was Chaos first. Well, Chaos just rugged. Oh, there he is again. So it was Chaos first. And then it was Dave. Was it Dave or Fuzzy? I can't remember which one was first. Dave. Okay. So we'll go Chaos, then Dave, then Project 1010, then Paula, then Lisa, and then Fuzzy, and then Artist with Dharma, and then Asymmetric. So if y'all can remember whoever was before you, that's the order. So, all right. So Chaos, you're up first. How's it going, Chaos? Hola.
Hola, mi hermano. How are you? Oh my God, nice to hear you. I'm outside, but in a few minutes, I can be in my apartment.
Sure.
And it was great to hear you. Give me some time. I can be the last too. Thanks.
Absolutely. We'll cycle back around to you. Awesome. All right, Dave, batter up. How you doing, Dave?
Hey, Steve, can you hear me?
Absolutely, loud and clear.
Okay, man. First of all, thanks for having the room. I'm going to keep mine quite short and sweet. So for me, in answering your question, like what routines kind of work for you, for me, because I am a designer, I work full-time as a freelancer. I work in the Web3 space, and I am a busy dad of 3 kids, and my wife works full-time. So it's pretty busy. It's pretty busy. But to be honest, I like it like this because it's kind of like, it's it's organized chaos, as I like to call it. But what I find for me is that I need to have a bit of discipline around what I need to do. Otherwise, I just don't do jack. So one thing I do is I'm a big list writer. And I know lists can be quite polarizing. Some people hate them, some people like them. And you can just end up doing lists of lists of lists of lists. But what I generally try and do is do a week list, break it down each day, so I know what I'm doing each day, set myself a goal that I'd like to achieve each day, and I slowly go through that list of things I need to do in terms of priority and importance and expectations. And I slowly go through it, and you know what? If I do it, great. If I don't do it, it is what it is. I'm not going to beat myself up about it because, shit happens, life's busy, and at least that kind of creates a bit of structure for me, Steve. And, we've spoken about a few things about setting goals and things that trigger you to getting passionate. So within that list, I have a bit of discipline, and it helps me achieve the things I need to achieve. I'm done. Thanks, Steve.
So question for you. How do you know what to put on your list? Like when you're looking at your list and saying, okay, I'm going to put this on my list. Like well, two questions. How do you know what to put on your list? And do you limit your list? What if you had a list of 100 things,
Yeah, no, really, really good question. So what I've started to do is started to get into goal setting because, I need to set myself achievable goals, but I go back a bit and say, right, what can I do now? What do I want to do in the future? And where do I see myself that I want to be? So within the goal framework, I have a certain amount of things I can and can't do. So for example, this week, we're going away, so I needed to organize a few things. I set myself a list and I did them, and they were quite meaningful things. And my long-term goal is to set up the brand. And what I've done with the brand is I've gone back a bit. I've looked at breaking it down. I've done a worksheet. I'm doing the deep work now, and I'm going through that process. The long-term goal is to launch the coin and do the brand. So that's not possible for me now. So what I do is I set the goals up in short, medium, and long term.
I love that. That's actually pretty good because then it allows you to know how to prioritize whatever you're prioritizing. And it allows you to not leave something off the table so you don't forget it. So I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, thanks, Steve. I'll be honest as well. Even as good as it does sound, I don't want to talk as if I am actually, I'm hitting it. I sometimes struggle as much as anybody does. But at least, I'm not where I want to be, Steve. If I'm completely honest, I'm really not where I want to be. But that's okay. At least I've got a little bit of structure and discipline in place.
Absolutely. And that brings up one point, and then we'll go to Project and then Paula. That brings up one point. It's okay if you don't reach everything in your routine. It's okay like that, if you have a day. See, the purpose of this is really so that we're chipping away at things. We're chipping away at our goals. We're always moving forward, so I think that's pretty awesome. Thank you so much, Dave. All right, we have Project 1010 next. How you doing, Project?
Hey, Steve. It's been wild, but holding on, keep on working, building. It's like you said, like part of the routine itself. Like for me, I would have to say it's more dynamic than it is a set fixture, and I say that because it's like I noticed, at least with me, that when I used to have a set routine, if anything happened to throw me off that routine, then my total day was in shambles, right? So it's more of a dynamic. It's like, all right, what do I need to get out throughout the day? Like, think about that first thing in the morning, be grateful, and then just roll with the punches because you're going to need to pivot. But, like, at the bare minimum, it's like just having that conscious mentality of, all right, this is what I want to get done today. Maybe not everything's going to go as smooth as planned, and I'm ready to roll with the punches. So having that mentality of, hey, sometimes you're going to have to pivot, it definitely helps with things if they don't go specifically how you normally do your routine.
Absolutely. I love that. And knowing how to pivot is crucial for, in my opinion, for our mental health too, because if things don't go as planned, now we're not, devastating our mental health, so that I think that's a very, very great point. Thank you so much for sharing. And then we have Paula. Hey, Paula. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, everyone. Well, thank you for holding this room, and definitely I've been focusing on task management rather than time management and having that routine, having that list of things that you have to accomplish And then, as you said, non-negotiable, and just trying to focus a task at a time and not be frustrated about multitasking and not being able to accomplish anything at one point. So yeah, I think that it's not easy, but it takes a lot of dedication and obviously organization to be able to manage that and not get distracted by everything that is around you. But at least, having that routine of making sure that you have a list of tasks, and that if you're able to manage one or two, probably one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one at night, and then just be grateful to have been able to accomplish that. I think that you have to reward yourself and pat yourself a little bit and say, it's okay, you did it, you can do it again. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, I love that. The task management, I love that. And then one big thing that really I just connected to what you said is would it be gratitude? Gratitude's like, appreciating when you're accomplishing your task, appreciating the goals that you do hit, but also releasing the goals that you don't, like in that moment, so that it's not like a bogged down. And then I love how you're spacing it out, like maybe a goal in the morning, maybe the afternoon, maybe the evening, and then if you get to it, great. If you don't get to one, that's okay too. This is so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your insight. All right, we have Lisa next. Hey, Lisa, how are you?
Hey guys, how you doing? Sorry if you can't hear me. I'm praying from South Africa.
Oh, we can hear you.
Okay, super. Sorry, I'm a little bit emotional because I'm so grateful for this space right now. I'm just truly grateful, and I want to say thank you so much. You have no idea how much this means. I've been working on my routine, or trying to work on my routine, but it's been really hard because, I've got a child and mom's in hospital and the house was broken into, and, it's just like, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I've been paying my doctor, who's a metaphysical doctor, to help me with this, actually, and he gave me a 2-week, basically like a program to do. So he said to me, I must write down, what I want to do during the day, basically, and then implicate that by the second week. But during that whole process, I was not even able to even write down what I needed to do or implicate any of my routine, my tasks. You understand what I'm saying? Because there were so many interruptions, and it was just, it wasn't cool, because it was just like, because I'm a therapist, obviously, I have a lot of people coming to me for help, and it's like every time, picture a little bird on a wire. I might get a little bird on a wire, and then it's like, whenever something happens, like a major event, like the Queen dies, for example, just a little event like that, and it's like, there goes my routine, So how does one, for example, okay, obviously that was a different story, but I know I sound a little schizophrenic a little bit as well. Mixing my words a little bit around right now. But how do you get that inner strength? I know I've been listening to your meditation. I've been trying meditation. I'm trying my best now, and I have been in a routine before. I was a flight attendant, helicopter pilot, you name it. But something happened. It's like my bell has just gone off, and I don't know why. So how do I fix that? Do you have any idea?
Well, so basically, and if anyone else, want to chime in response to her question, just so I'm making sure that I got it right, you're saying like it's like would you classify it as like a long-term burnout? Is that how you're feeling?
Exactly.
Okay.
I feel like, because I worked pretty much like a machine for a very long time.
Yeah.
A little machine. Yeah.
Maybe your routine is to breathe, not figurative, not technically, but technically too, we have to breathe, but more of like, it's okay for your routine to be not to have a routine for a while, since you've had it so long. That's part of like that clearing and that peacefulness. And sometimes I see it like this recharge. That's the word that comes to mind. Like how to get that inner, and to me, I feel you're very strong, because for you to even admit it to yourself that like, look, I'm burnt out. I've done so much. I don't want to do anything, and I don't know how to fix it. And that takes a lot of strength, to be honest with yourself, for all of us. That takes a lot of strength for all of us. So, I mean, I personally feel like my opinion, and then I'll open up if anyone else would like to respond as well. I feel like for you, give yourself time, give yourself breathing room. You've done so much. You've been so burnt out that maybe you need some time to recharge, and it takes as long as it takes. Sometimes it takes months. I've gone through periods like that.
Thanks. Thank you so much. And I've got this recorded, so I'm going to go back and re-listen to this. God willing, we'll see if I get the time.
Absolutely. Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much, Steve. I appreciate your channel. I really do.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, Paula wanted to say something. Oh, well, 1 second. Paula wanted to respond.
Yes, I just wanted to add that sometimes when we're basically, we're surrounded or with people that have different difficulties, we take that energy, like you were mentioning initially. But one of the biggest issues that everyone goes through is depression. I have an article that I actually came across this morning about the different types of signs of depression that people should be aware of. I'll send her the link. I'll send you the link, Stephen, if you want to share it. It's about being aware of all of these things that we're going through, and sometimes it is overwhelming, and you're overwhelmed by all of the things that are occurring at the moment at a specific time or a specific space, and that takes a toll on you. And that could be also burnout, because you're taking all of that and information, and sometimes that information is out of our hands for us to do something about. So just be very aware of mental health, and just like everyone goes to the doctor, to get their annual physical, I think having that mental health checkup also within yourself, and just listening and taking time to take a break it's great. So keep working. It's gonna be okay.
They try to compartmentalize, but you do get your days where your mind is just tired.
And are you empathic? I've sensed that you're empathic. I can tell.
Too much. Maybe.
Yeah. I'm empathic too. And the thing with it, sometimes being like super strong empaths, we pick up on things even without knowing it. And it could be so, what I do when I'm feeling people's energy too much is like I disconnect. And sometimes people don't like that. Like they'll be like, why don't you answer the phone, or why aren't you responding? Sometimes you have to unplug, or whatever works for you. For me, part of my disconnect is sometimes I'll just go create some meditation music, or I might turn on something funny. I'll go on YouTube and turn on something that makes me laugh, and just unplug. Or go for a walk, or sometimes if it's if I'm near a beach or a mountain, I like to go there and just kind of be away from people a little bit. But you still can pick up on it. But so it just, with you, I just feel from your energy, like you've done so much giving and giving and giving. And for me, when I've been where you are, as far as like more of a longer burnout, from dealing with people, I had to work on setting boundaries. We're going to be doing a space about that maybe next week, because that's a very, very important topic on its own. But I had to learn to set boundaries, and I had to learn the power of no, knowing when to say no to people, knowing that it's okay to say no. And as you do more and more of that, you're going to find yourself reclaiming your energy and also releasing responsibility for other people's stuff. Because as empaths, a lot of us like to take on other people's stuff. It's not our fault. It's not on us. It's not our responsibility to save other people. The only thing that we're responsible for is listening to our inner self and doing what we're guided to do. And once we do our part, we move on. You know, that doesn't mean we can't be there for people. But that was the biggest shift that I made that helped me to set boundaries energetically as an empath and not be so impacted by people's energy. It'll never go away 100%, but that can definitely minimize it.
Thanks for that, Steve. Much appreciated. Also, I learned a small little trick by just, crossing your arms and, your solar plexus helps a lot as well. That I learned yesterday.
That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing. And I know it's helping people. I know we're going to Fired Up Freedom will be right back after these messages. Do you ever look for certain services or products and it's just hard to find and you want to know if someone else has used that before? Well, visit my resources page, steveryan.com/resources, steveryan.com/resources. Project, did you have a response to her as well, or were you back in queue?
No, I actually, it's a response to her, and it goes to what I actually wanted to say. Cause
sure. Go for it.
Said, it's not just a recharge, it's a total reset, and sometimes you're going to need it. And at least for me, I don't think that there's a perfect routine, right? You're always going to be modifying it to be able to adjust to whatever it is that you need. And it's going to take time. It's trial and error. You're going to try things and you're going to think it's good for you, and you're going to do it for a while, and then you're like, oh man, this is actually too much. It's not going to be able to be sustainable, and you're going to need to change it, right? So it's just being adaptable and just modifying it as you go along, because you're getting to know yourself. It's like, to this day, the older that you get, the more time that you actually spend getting to know what you need to have a good mental health, for you to be mentally and emotionally healthy. You need to get to know yourself, and it takes time, because when we grow up, we're taught certain things. Not everything's like that we're taught is correct, because we're taught by people who are not perfect either, and they were taught by people who were not perfect either, and so on and so forth, right? So now that we have this mentality of, okay, what is it that I need? We need to look and try to figure out who we are as a person, what we actually truly need, and in that process, we're able to set the limitations, we're able to actually set the boundaries, we're actually able to set the proper guidelines for us to be able to conduct our own day. But it doesn't mean that it automatically is going to be perfect, and you shouldn't expect that the first routine that you're trying is going to work out. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but it's modifying it on a day-to-day basis to suit your needs. And if you need to reset, then it's okay to reset. It's normal and it's natural for you to need that time to kind of woosah and recharge and reset and then do it again.
Wow. That is so, being fluid, the art of pivoting. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. That's it. We are going to wrap up in the next 19 minutes. I've been keeping this at at max an hour. All right. So we have Fuzzy Nets, and then Artist with Dharma, and then Chaos is back up. We'll throw him in the queue too as well. All right. Hey, Fuzzy. Oh no. Sometimes he has issues with this. There we go.
Got me now?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Oh, I had to leave and come back. Yeah, thanks for bringing me up. Initially, I wanted to come up and just show my appreciation for the room and the series you currently do. Really getting a lot of value from that. And thank you for the shares. And I hope that things work out for Lisa. But yeah, I will share a little thing in regards to myself. So like organising and routine. I'm still trying to get a good routine or get well organised, but I put a couple of things in place. Like now I've got on the wall in the kitchen a sticker, like a stick-on chalkboard, so I can just chalk things on there for the week and then tick them off. I used to use a flip calendar, but then I just found that wasn't visible enough for me, and a diary. So yeah, I think that's working a lot better for me now. But yeah, I know what I'm like. If I don't have it written down, then it's harder for me to have that as a bit of a routine. I can sort of, get up, walk the dog, obviously come to coffee and all that kind of thing. But they tend to be like, if I've not got it written down, it's just like at my leisure, and I could easily just fall out of that. And yeah, that's kind of on that side of things. Just wanted to to share that. I've been on my scooter on the way to work while people have been talking, so I'll definitely go back and listen in on everything. I did miss the start of the room, but I generally appreciate what you're doing and admire how you multitask, and I'm going to try and crack that now.
No problem. It's called organized chaos. No, I'm just kidding. No, but the way that I'm able to do this is because, like I was saying before, I thought about doing this a month ago, but I knew I was going to be traveling, and I wanted to set this up to be efficient. And the reason why I'm doing this on multiple platforms is because, like, I don't have the time to do it separately, but I didn't want to neglect any platform. So that's why this is how we're going to be doing it. We're going to see how this goes. It's been going great this whole week. So thank you so much. And just to recap for anyone who missed the first part, how do you make a routine that works for you? So the 3 things that I talked about today was evaluate yourself, evaluate your situation, and evaluate your results. And we dive deep into each one of those things. And some of the highlights is 1, knowing how to pivot, knowing how to be fluid, being honest with yourself. So I do see we do have some more requests to come up, but what I want to do is get through the people who are already requested first, so I don't lose track since I'm multitasking between Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces. So we have, I know Artists with Dharma, Chaos, Asymmetric, and then I think Paula. I don't know if Paula was back in queue, but we'll see. All right, so Artists with Dharma.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, man, it's good. Getting around to doing my review email subscriptions on Twitter. It's been in the pipelines, but I'm not usually we've got that many things. Like, let's do this, let's do that. So routine. Let's stick to the point. With me having ADHD. And this sort of thing, it's I struggle with like setting alarms or having apps and reminders because after I have apps to remind me to look at the other reminder, so I end up with like tons of apps that are ping ping ping, and it just stresses me out. So with for me. I can be up for days as well, so I never have a sleep pattern. I just sleep when I crash out, and I'll enjoy life that way. But if we have a sleep routine, I'll sleep for 12 or 14 hours a day, and that's not good because I waste a lot of time in the day. So I'd rather just like keep going, and then when my body says you need to sleep, it'll sleep, and I'll sleep standing up. It's just like, hey, there you go. But yeah, Dharma, that's what gets my tasks done, by being clear in the mind, right, everybody, by having our mind is designed to be empty. We clutter it up with, I've got this task to do, I've got this emotion because I had an argument last night with my partner, or my kids have wound me up, and I've got to take them to school now, and when you get back and you're still stressing about the traffic, there's all these things. Oh, I've got there to fix the computer. I've got to get the tomatoes for tea tonight, and all this chaos in your mind. And what I find, like Dharma, by practicing that, it clears the mind. I let go of everything, and then with this clear mind, like I'm sat here now, and I was working on a painting, and I was just had the white pencil, and I was just drawing on the leg of this lady that I'm painting. And then I went, I've got to do that review. So I put the pencil down. I'll do my review now. And that's one task done. And what task I'll go to next, I don't know. I've got no plan. I just do what I do. And I get far more done by just having that empty mind.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's how it works for me, and I recommend it for everybody. If anyone wants to give it a try, I can send some links. But I'm not pushing it. I'm not pushing it as a religion. I'm pushing it as a philosophy, a way to change your life. It changed mine. I can't promise it'll change your life like it changed mine, but it just works for me. So I'm easy to work around other people. I'm a water person, so like if I've got something to attend and other people are saying it's at this time, right, I've just got to be there. You've got to make time. If I want to be successful, I've got to pay attention to what's being said. Can't neglect my brand. So there are things that just have to be done, part of a daily routine. So that's my input.
Cool.
Just like for Lisa Liv, don't know if she's reconnected. I'll send her a message. I was just going to say, like, maybe she should. What I did when in my most stressful time, I just nailed a bed sheet up, and I would just sit in the bed sheet. That was my zone. And that got me through. I'll talk to her about that. I hope that advice helps somebody. Me talk forever, so let's end it there. It's been enjoyable and emotional, as always.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I like that. I like setting up that sheet. It's almost like if you set up a sheet, you're creating your own zen, your own zone. So that's a very interesting strategy there. So, all right. Well, thanks. We are going to be wrapping up in 10 minutes. It will be a hard stop, just letting y'all know ahead of time. All right. So we have, Chaos was up earlier, and then we'll get to Isometric. Hey, Chaos. Hola.
Hi, Steve. Hi. And hi, everybody. It's nice to hear you again. Lovely people here. Willow Asymmetric Artist. Nice to see you again. And of course, I'm happy to be here to listen to you. And this space was one of my start in all this. And I was listening and learning again a lot of stuff, and how to build a routine is like start to walk again. It's like when a baby walk, he's not so hard with himself. But when we get older, we get harder to ourselves, and then it's more difficult to learn stuff because we have to learn. I want that. I want to have it, and it's maybe just when you have the chaos in mind, clean your room. And it's not like clean your room now. It's like if you don't like to clean the room, stand up one day, put a t-shirt in the right place, and go and get to sleep or whatever. And the really next day is your boxer shorts, your bra, whatever. And then you start slow to walk. And when you get your room done, sit down and wait how you feel. And this is how I think you build something and you work on it. It's, if you can give it more energy, you do it. If not, you do it anyway. Like, I don't know, something you really want. I don't think it's killing you when it's taking you outside your comfort zone. And building routine, I think, is building an habit. And the habit becomes very easy. When we start to walk and we run, we don't think about it anymore, and we need something more. We need something more because this is how it works. Strong people, we are like empathic, yes. You feel other people and you feel different, and you see you are really different as much or mostly of the people you know physically, and then you get prove it. I think strong people can prove it to become stronger, to get prove it again. This is how you learn. Be ready when you learn something new. You use that. When a state or whatever, when a country buy some weapons, they want to use it. So that's what you learn. It's to live. Your life become stronger and use your power to go forward and to guide other people that are like not so far like you. This is the responsibility for hard and strong people and people that are blessed, that are in the position to be in a burnout, because this is the moment you can get up again. This is the moment you can prove yourself, even if it takes like years, and you go up again. You are stronger than you were.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is just me. It's like I come back. It's like I failed. I was in all the spaces so long. I was trying to talk with people. I was looking around. I was calling people. I was making connection. And then it wasn't like I wanted. It wasn't like I expected. For me, it's not about here. It's Twitter space or Twitter. It's very special because I was surrounded. It's me. And now I try to come back again. It's like I'm in the beginning from standing up or trying again. And this is what we have. All we have is to try. And thank you so much, Steve. I don't want to take the whole space, but thank you. And I would be listening anyway. So, wow. Thank you for having you here.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. I love that. In other words, like, keep trying, keep getting up. No matter how many times it seems like something falls, get back up. And this is why it's important for routines. And we're going to get to asymmetric here, for routines to see. Routine doesn't mean it has to be rigid and I'm just going to do this. Routine can be, let me take a break. Routine can be, I'm going to put in my routine to sometimes take a break and take space from things. That's perfectly okay. That's perfectly okay. We're not designed to be perfect. So, all right. Hey, Asymmetric, thank you for being so patient. How are you today?
Hey, my friends, how are you? Yeah, I'm very happy to hear Chaos, to hear you again. And as you said, that's very important. Yeah, I think we need to take discourse about what we do and what we are planning to do, make a strong roadmap. So in my case, I took a little bit of holidays. It's not holidays. I mean, had new projects, and I wanted just to work on them in the real world after jumping into Twitter space with fresh news and fresh projects. But it's like once you are entering into NFT spaces, you are entering like a loop, and you can lose yourself. You can make burnout. You can make all things. So that's very important, as you said, to take some distances. We don't care. Sometimes I'm not connected on Twitter for months because I'm working hard, working on my art and what I'm doing, and because I got a lot of projects and I'm involved in multiple fields. And and I'm very happy to come back in Twitter with some new things, new experiments on NFTs. So I always have some nice stories to tell about those projects, because it's a matter of perspective. Once we see the project on NFTs, some people are active in photography, others are active in art. So that's very, very 3D and so on. So it's a complete I would say it's a big jungle, I would say. That's a big jungle. So I'm very happy to hear you again. We just need to take care of ourselves and be quiet and no problem. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And that's very important. You know, you mentioned that sometimes it's like a jungle. And that's why it's important sometimes for us to take that space to have clarity, to take that space and step back and recharge. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, the word jungle inspired me a lot because I got a new project. Really, can I talk about it?
No, we're not. We're not going to do the project shares because we're about to wrap up. I'm wrapping up the room, so I need to say some closing words. But however, we are having a room tomorrow at the same time, so just come a little bit earlier in the room. I'm going to keep it at an hour. I'm not going over. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about what is freedom to you. That's going to be a great conversation. The room starts 58 minutes before now. So get here early, all of you, anyone who wants to speak. Tomorrow I'll have some words, but it won't be as long as today or the other days. It will probably be about a 10-minute, 15-minute share at the most, give or take some time. And then it'll definitely be space for others to come up and talk and things like that. Now, before I forget, for everyone here, if you're connected to Social Connector and you have your Twitter and Solana wallet, you received some crypto during the space. All right. For those who don't have it connected, that's okay. You can do it after the space. Just click on that link on the pinned tweet that's there. It's right on, and it's on my Twitter page. It'll show you how to connect to Social Connector and connect your Solana wallet and your Twitter. And also on Clubhouse, you'll also be getting a drop on Clubhouse as well. And for all of you on TikTok, you know my tradition. After I close these rooms, I'm going to go through and respond to your comments for just a few minutes, and then we'll be good to go. Thank y'all so much for coming today. Just to recap, on Monday, we talked about strategies for getting clarity. On Tuesday this week, we talked about mindset for financial freedom. Yesterday, we talked about how to create income opportunities. Today, we talked about how to make a routine that works for you. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about what is freedom to you. All of these things connect. So I would like to do this Monday through Friday. I'm not going to commit to say how long, but we're going to do it again next week. It'll be Monday through Friday at this time. We're going to keep it right at an hour. This is going to be awesome. I see Willow tried to come up. I do have to close the room, but hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Come a little bit earlier if you have the time, and we'll definitely have time to catch up. Thank y'all so much for joining. I'm going to do a real quick shout out. So on Clubhouse, it was 41 people that came through. I'll give a shout out to see Donovan, Dave, Paula was there, X, The Rich, Nancy. I don't see the names of the others. On Twitter Spaces, I didn't catch you all left. I know Loli was in here earlier. Got the Abundant Lion, Chaos, Project 1010, Asymmetric Artists with Dharma, Willow, NFTs for Freedom, BB, See Me Down, Lisa, Reigning Inside Meditation. We have Residor, Overlord, Brenda, Just Curious, and Musam in 23 Ways. All right, y'all have a good day now. Take care. All right, so TikTok live stream. This was a great conversation. We talked about how to make a routine that works for you. It was some great feedback, some great conversations. What I did is I took some notes, and the three things that I wrote down was evaluate yourself, evaluate your situation, and evaluate your results. Now, based on all this wonderful feedback that we got from everyone, through these social audio apps, which is Twitter Spaces and Clubhouse, it was a lot of good feedback. And the commonmost thing that I heard on the feedback was knowing how to be fluid, knowing how to pivot, knowing how to adjust your time, customizing a routine that works for you. And that's a way to avoid burnout. Running from myself at times I can't describe the words I try.